It is 9:15, which means I have 15 minutes to show you how I do my pre-market routine to prepare myself for the trading day. So the first thing that I do, since I use volume profile, is I would like to mark up the levels of point of control, value area high, value area low on my charts. Now, as you can see, my quant tower isn't showing the levels properly, or it isn't showing yesterday's profile properly, because it looks like this, which only captured about probably this move, which is incorrect. So I use TradingView sometimes to give me these levels so I can see what the profile was for yesterday. For example, I already have the value area low, the value area high. I just need point of control, which was about at 154.50. So I'll take a line tool and I'll plot it at 154 or close to it, and I'll label it point of control. So basically, my opening bias is if we open up and we drive in that direction and we break into yesterday's or prior's fair value levels, then I will expect a rotation between value area low to point of control and value area high to point of control, a rotation between this range. However, if we open up and we drive far away from prior session's profile, then I will look to take trades that follow the direction away from prior session's profile. Next thing is I like to get a sense of what happened in the overnight session. So as you can see from the open of the overnight session, we ranged between two extremes. We had gotten a breakout between this extreme, which was as quickly followed up by another breakout to the extreme above. So what I want to do is I want to mark out these two levels here as a potential zone that price can maybe come back to. For example, here in the overnight session, you've seen that we broke below, but then we quickly traded back into it. This might be the opposite move of that, where we were broken above, but we might quickly just trade back into it. If that's the case, if we break below this level right here, I would look for some sort of extension or some sort of move towards at least VWAP's lower one standard deviation. The next thing I'm looking for is what ATR is currently at. So ATR is currently at 4 points. ATR just tracks the amount of points the price has moved within a certain time period, the average amount of points. So for this example, the average amount of points we moved in every 5-minute sequence has been about 4 points, which is very, very, very low, which is normal for pre-market / overnight hours, because once we open up, we are going to probably explode up to 15 automatic. But just in case, if we ever had a scenario where we were at maybe 10 points on the ATR at pre-market, this for me is an indication that the session is going to be pretty volatile. There's some news or some impact that happened during the overnight session, and if the overnight session has volatility to where that is in the double digits in the ATR, from what I saw majority of the times, we are going to have a pretty volatile session in the New York Open. That's how it was the whole period when tariffs were being announced. Almost every single day, the pre-market session was at 10 on the ATR. So the next thing that I want to look for to complement the ATR is the VIX. So the VIX is the volatility index for the S&P 500. If you want to use the NASDAQ version, you can use the VXN, but the VIX is always common knowledge to be used the most. This is just tracking the average volatility on a longer period. It's just a bigger ATR essentially. Here's the one thing that I've noticed. This fear and greed index is highly correlated to the VIX from what I've noticed so far. Is when we're in extreme greed, we get lower volatility, or the VIX will tend to be a lot lower. But if we are in fear and extreme fear, the volatility, of course, is going to rise. We'll always have a higher VIX. This is something that I've just noticed. Last but not least, it's very important to check news on the day. I like to know what news is going to hit the markets at certain times. For example, we've had PPI this morning, so this can be a factor of us maybe seeing some increased volatility during the session. A lot of participants are coming back to the market to make trades. So this could be something. I usually want to pay attention to what happens after 9:30, because my session window is from 9:30 to 10:30. And if I'm seeing something like, let's say, news at 9:45, that definitely will impact how I'm going to trade my plays. As of right now, there isn't any news events that I can see that may potentially give us a jolt of volatility in our session. Just because there isn't any scheduled news events that you see doesn't mean that you still can't see a jolt in volatility or a jolt in price action just moving heavily and rapidly at the same time. You can always, because there's something called breaking news. Unscheduled catalysts is what I call them. catalysts that just comes out at will. They come out unscheduled, unplanned, and it's a surprise to the markets. Those can come out and they can affect markets just as much, or dare I say, even more than scheduled catalysts. So the last thing that caps out my pre-market routine is building a game plan for the day. I just started doing this, but I started noticing how helpful it is to just be more disciplined as a trader when you map out exactly what is the plan for the day. When you map out the plan, it makes it a lot easier to judge how your day went. If you followed the game plan, that's a good day. If you didn't, that's a bad day and you know where to improve. You look to see what rules that you had broken. Say, for example, you had set a game plan to only trade with 2 micros, but you instead traded with 5. You know that you broke the game plan on the day by over leveraging, which could be a potential issue that you should probably learn how to solve. That game plan is probably the most important thing for my market routine. My game plan is very simple. I wait until 9:40. I look to position myself for the stat orbs play, and then after that, I'm pretty much off for the day. And this is what it's going to be like for now until I have 2 to 3 more plays that I can play within my window. Then my game plan is going to extend from just finishing my day after the stat orb plays out to looking for these plays as well too. I believe that every day should be different, right? In the form of every day, how you plan should be different, taking into the account of what has happened in the market during the overnight session and where you currently stand. I don't believe in trading the same every single day. I do believe in trading the same plays, but adjusting how you're trading these plays is probably one of the most important things. And that is my pre-market routine. It's very simple. I just do those things, and then that allows me to come into the markets with an open mind and allow me to see any potential moves that I can take advantage of. It is 9:27 now, 3 minutes till market open, so I'm going to go ahead and write out my game plan, and I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Thank you for watching, and see you on next video.